on either up there, so some of us know the actions. Good morning, great to be together this morning and be with you. I'm going to ask if there's any of you visiting for the first time. Don't put your hand up yet, but our ushers are ready to hand you in a welcome pack. So if you raise your hand, they'll pass one into you. We have visitors on a regular basis here on a Sunday morning, and we want to give some information that you can take home. It's in the form of a DVD, so just indicate that you would like one of those. And when you take it home, watch that and learn a little bit about the meeting house. There's a little card inside as well. If you would fill that out and then drop that in the offering basket as you leave this morning, we would have a record of your visit. That's kind of like our guest book. I'm going to give a little bit of a compassion update for our site this morning, so follow me with this. We have a focus at East Hamilton. It's called Families at Risk. And that can cover a broad spectrum of things. But that's our focus, and I want to tell you that over the last little while, you folks have been mobilizing more and more of you into agencies in this city. And last couple of weeks, we have been asking you to sign up for Christmas hampers so that we could provide families who are at risk with gifts and food so that they could celebrate Christmas. And over 20 families have been picked. But we have 2 families, right, Joanne? Large families with 8 people and 6 people still waiting to get sponsored. Now, a creative way of doing that would be that we could do it together. Just look at people next to you and say, I can't do it all by myself, or my family can't do all of that, but we can do it together. So go visit Joanne out in the lobby after the service, and let's get those 2 families done so that they also can be blessed at Christmas through what we have to give and do it together. As I said, more and more of you have been mobilized out into agencies in our city. And as I've gone out to visit these agencies, what's really cool is I hear them referring to you by name. They will tell me who's doing what and name the people. So people like St. David's, like Micah House, like Lightway, all of those are talking about you and saying what a blessing you are to them. That's awesome to hear. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. This coming Saturday, we have something that's really special. We've done it 2 other years. It's called Help Portrait. Help Portrait, we take photographers, hairstylists, makeup artists, and people who are wonderful hosts, and we put them all together, and we take pictures for families or people who would not ever be able to afford a really good portrait. This year in particular, we are reaching out to more than 60 women. These are women who have lived in shelters, either because of abuse or violence or because of homelessness. So this Saturday, they will be pampered and looked after, and they'll have their photos taken. And when they leave with a framed photograph and a CD of all the other pictures that were taken so that they can just cheaply email copies of those to family or others. So think about that on Saturday morning, that East and West Hamilton together are blessing these women in a very special way. I've just mentioned to you some of the things that you have been doing and will be doing this Christmas to bless families. We have just launched our new mission called Transform. And I want to talk a little bit about that and remind you that, first of all, as leadership, we sincerely and wholeheartedly believe that God has given us this mission. It has come up from the ranks, and it has been something we've mulled over and prayed over, so we believe in it, and we're ready to move forward. But part of moving forward means we need to get pledges in from individuals. And in a simple way, those pledges will tell us how much money we have in our growth and our compassion fund, so that then we can commit to Mennonite Central Committee in Southern Africa, to the local agencies that we support here in Hamilton and across all of our sites, so that we can expand, so that we can launch new sites. You have to know what you have in order to step forward. So those pledges are really important. And the only comparison I can give you that makes sense to me is some of you and us, we get a paycheck. Those paychecks are like pledges and intentions. My employer says, you will get this amount on a regular basis, so now you can plan on where you'll live, what you can afford. for daycare, for rent, for whatever. That's all a pledge is. It's your intent to say, here's what I will put into those compassion funds and growth funds over the next few years. And when we put that all together across all of our sites, we'll have a great idea of how we can move forward, making those commitments. So consider doing that. At our information table, there are envelopes like this that contain the pledge cards. As well, you can go on the website and just go into the transform icon and then pledge online. And then we'd really appreciate that, because then it poises us for the future of giving and supporting things. Lastly, I would like to mention that we have a First Steps coming up next Sunday. For those of you who have hung around for a little bit and maybe you have questions about who we are, what we believe, what we stand for, First Steps is the forum where you can do that. And it's right after the service next week. We just go upstairs in the foyer. We have a little bit of refreshments and sit together with myself and some other leaders, and we're there to answer some questions for you and give a little bit of direction on how you can connect further into community as well. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up or just show up next week. We're going to get on with our teaching. We're in Can't Buy Me Love, and number 2. And before we do that, I'll pray, and then our offering baskets will come around. Join me in prayer. Lord, it has been great to sing.